It's a new day. Yes, it is.
Normally, I just get straight into the interviews, but I feel it'd be disrespectful if I didn't give you your full accolades. You're a former NXT champion, former Intercontinental champion, a multi-time tag team champion, and I can't talk about tag teams without mentioning that as part of the New Day, you hold the record for the longest reigning tag team champion in history, 483 days. My absolute pleasure to chat to Big E. E, thank you so much for giving me some of your time, man.
I appreciate it. Well done with the accolades. It's a great way to start. Butter me up, and I'll be a little bit more. I'll be into things. I appreciate that.
Man, one thing I absolutely love about you is you are just so positive. I always see you with a smile on your face. You just completely rep positivity. So when Kofi and Woods was drafted to Raw, what was your initial reaction? How did you feel when it happened, and how do you feel now?
The initial reaction, I was upset. We were all upset. We were all beyond irked. Irked isn't even, I'm trying to think of the right word, but we were not pleased. Let's say that. I think with some time though, we thought about it, and there are a few things, you know, in a pandemic, we don't have the amount of shows that we normally would. So typically those guys would be my writing crew. And those are the guys that you're in a car with, that you travel with, that you stay in the same hotel with for 4 to 5 days a week, every single week. And to lose that would be devastating. But things are a little bit different now because I live in Tampa and I'm only traveling. We go to Orlando. That's an hour and a half down the road. So I'm at the building. I don't have writing partners anyways. So now that kind of softened the blow. I'm not losing guys that I would have seen probably 200 days a year during the non-pandemic time. I'm not losing that writing crew. So that's a little bit, that cushions the blow a bit. And I think, you know, the more I thought about it, I think there are some advantages, as many disadvantages as there are. I think hopefully it allows us to all show more of our personality. That's always one of the challenges with a stable or a group, is having the time with 3 people to develop all 3 personalities. And I think we did a pretty good job of doing that, but I think this will allow even more of that. And I think if anything, you know, I definitely foresee a reunion, and I think that hopefully it builds even more excitement for that. And hopefully we have that in front of people. But it feels more like a hiatus. I don't want to say breakup. That's kind of been the term a lot of people have used. But it feels like, hey, we're on a break. I don't know if you watch Friends, but we're just on a break here, right? No one needs to do anything outside of the bonds of this relationship, but we're just putting things on pause. We'll take a little time away, and then we'll come back. So I think that's what that is right now. So with some perspective, I think, you know, this is the hand we're dealt. So you have to do the best with what you're given. I always try to tell myself, control what you can. I can't control the fact that we're on different shows now. So do the best with what you're given. So that's our mentality, and we're going to try to make the best of it.
It's not so much me time; it's some Big E time, if you will. Like,
yes. Well, I'm not really one to toot my own horn too much, but it's an opportunity for me to show what I can do on my own. And I think that's one of the beautiful things of the New Day and my time with the New Day is I feel like a vastly different performer. We started in 2014, and I was able to grow so much as a performer. I'm so comfortable in my own skin now. I look back at my old promos from before then, and I cringe. I look back at a lot of things I did now, and I feel like I am able to set myself apart so much more now. I always think, man, you look around, there are guys who are bigger than me, maybe not stronger because I'm a powerlifting national champion. Let's not forget that too. But you look around and there are the Goldbergs of the world. They're the Brock Lesnar's, they're the Braun Strowmans, these giants, these massive men. There are guys who do incredible athletic things that I can't do in the ring. But I always feel like there is no one who can fill my exact shoes. That's just how I feel. I don't think you can find another performer and say, hey, he can do everything that Big E does. I feel like my blend of in-ring ability, talking ability, being a unique character to me is so essential in wrestling. I don't want to ever think that I can be easily replaced. And that's what I've made an effort to, is just to be unique.
I think one of the things that everyone keeps talking about, oh, you're such a breakout single star, you need to break away from the New Days, because when you have been a single superstar, I mean, your NXT run as champion was just absolutely phenomenal. And this is the early days of NXT as well. The 5 count was fantastic. You're actually one of the founding fathers of NXT as well. But as you said, 2013 Big E is a lot different to 2020 Big E. So do you sort of look back at that as just, some very basic foundations, and can you draw back on that and update it for 2020?
Oh yeah, man. I get, from time to time, I get people clamoring for me to bring back the 5 count. And if it was up to me, it would be back. I love the 5 count. It was the first time in my career where I felt like, all right, this is it. I got something, because like you said, it was the early days of NXT. So NXT didn't have as many eyes on it, at least in the States. It felt like you would hear like a few people would tweet you that they were watching in the US on Hulu, but for the most part, it was a very slept on brand. But it really allowed me to connect with people for the very first time in a big way. And I think there are things that I learned from then that I was able to use to help with the New Day run, as far as the importance of connecting with people. People, if I pay my hard-earned money to sit in a crowd, for the most part, as a fan, like I want to chant, I want to interact, I want something to cling on to, as opposed to that's just a man or a woman in tights who is really good at wrestling. I want to understand who you are as a person. I want to understand what your character is, how you see the world. And that just allows me so much more to connect with you. And that, to me, works in all of sports and athletics, is when you can watch a great performer, a great athlete, and you can say, man, they're incredible. But when they're funny, they're family man or women, whatever it is that allows you to latch onto that person, there's just such a greater bond, a greater connectivity to that athlete, to that performer. And that's what I really learned, is the importance of connection. And that's what I want to continue to do. I think in certain aspects, people have called also for me to be more serious. And there will be times where I need to be more serious. If you got to see the feud with Sheamus, when someone decides, hey, I'm going to pick you up and drop you through this windshield on a car, that's a good time to start being serious. I'm pretty mad. So there are times where I think the situations dictate, like, if I punch you in your chest, you should probably be mad. But other than that, go about with a smile on your face, enjoy your day, because life will often dictate how you react to that scenario. So I want the same for me. I still want to have this. We've built these characters that I think are very memorable. And for me, just to suddenly just turn that switch off and be someone else, I don't think makes a lot of sense.
One thing you mentioned in your connection with the crowd, I mean, Australia is such a whiles away from where you guys are in the WWE. I know we're slowly infiltrating and putting more and more Australians with the Iconics and Murphy, and we'll fill up more Australians into NXT and WWE. I guarantee that. But the fact that I remember seeing you the last time you were in Australia, and this was unfortunately when Woods did his Achilles injury, and you guys were in Melbourne, my hometown, and you teamed up with Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy is the hometown guy there, yet more people are chanting New Day rocks. They are loving the New Day. And the fact that one of our guys is teaming with the New Day is what made a lot of people's night. So that's pretty cool that you guys have sort of been embraced. It's like, yes, there's a homecoming for one of our guys, but it's an even better homecoming because he's with the New Day.
Yeah, no, that's pretty incredible, because in many ways we still kind of see ourselves as blue collar guys. We're always the guys who kind of work with that chip on our shoulder. I never have this feeling that I've made it, or that it's time to coast, or that I can rest on my laurels or look back at all the great things I've done, because I always think, you're only as good as your last performance, and that's what sticks in people's minds. So I always have that mentality of, hey, I want to be, that sometimes you swing and you miss, but the goal for me is to always be the most memorable segment, to be in the most memorable match. And I think there are a variety of different ways to entertain people. And some can do it with flips and crazy dives. Some people can do it with their talking ability. For some, it's kind of a mixture of the both. So for me, that's always the goal, is, hey, I need to remind people why I deserve to be at the top. Every single night, I have that mentality of do my best with what I'm given. And it's pretty cool that people perceive us in that light. And even to be considered, when people talk about the greatest stables of all time, the greatest factions of all time, to even be mentioned is incredible and an honor for us. because like I said, we were just three guys just trying to get on TV, and we were able to create something I think pretty special.
One last question before I let you go, E. I have to ask you this because it's been plaguing me since probably mid 2019. But John Cena's Instagram, where you feature in a lot of photoshops replacing Notorious B.I.G. I mean, what's the backstory there, man? I need to know. Did John even mention that, or were you just scrolling the gram on name like, what is this?
I know about as much as you. He, at one point, he was doing it for months, and I just know his sense of humor, and I wasn't too surprised. But then he told me, like, hey, he said something like 800 of these images in a file somewhere, and I want to let you know, like, they're coming. If you have a problem with them, let me know. But like, that's kind of my style of humor. It's real weird and bizarre. But you know, I often think too with John, obviously he has the wrestling crowd who supports him and follows him, but he's got a ton of people from the movies he's been in, from the commercials, who probably have no idea who I am, who have no idea what is going on with these Big E on Notorious B.I.G.'s body pics. So it's very bizarre. As far as I know, there's no real explanation. I think it was just funny to him. And then he kept doing it for months. So that's that.
Well, it's awesome that you've given me so much of your time to chat. I'd normally plug your socials at WWE Big E on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, but I know that you don't need people's follows, but people need to follow you. That's what I say. We love seeing you every Saturday on Fox 8 here in Australia. We can't wait to see you back down here, man. And it's been an absolute thrill. You've really ticked off a bucket list for me. So I really appreciate that, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, man.